beloved chosen one. Pause for a moment and listen carefully. This message is not rushing past you by accident. You didn't click this, scroll into this, or land here randomly. Something in your spirit already sensed it, a tension in the air. A quiet alert inside your chest, as if heaven itself leaned closer and whispered, "Pay attention now." You are standing in a narrow window of time where what happens next depends on whether you recognize the moment you are in. There is a reason your life has felt unusually quiet lately. A reason messages have slowed, calls have stopped, doors you expected to open remained shut. You may have wondered if you were being forgotten. You were not. You were being positioned. God often creates silence before a knock, because noise would distract you from recognizing who is truly at the door. Picture this: it's late evening, your phone is face down on the table. You're tired from work, mentally drained, scrolling without focus, the finances have been tight. You've been recalculating the same numbers, trying to stretch what you have. In your family, conversations feel polite but distant. Nothing is wrong enough to panic, but nothing feels right either. That in-between place is where God speaks most clearly, because you finally stop pretending you're in control. And in that stillness, a shift begins. Not dramatic, not loud, but real. A subtle sense that something or someone is approaching. A conversation that hasn't happened yet. An opportunity you didn't apply for. A reconciliation you stopped expecting. This is the moment where discernment matters. Because not every knock comes to distract, some come to deliver. The Word of God declares in the book of Revelation, chapter 3, verse 20, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come into him and dine with him, and he with me." Notice what that verse does not say. It does not say God breaks the door down. It does not say he forces his way into your life. He knocks. That means timing matters. Awareness matters. Choice matters. Right now, many chosen ones are confusing delay with denial. You assume because it hasn't happened yet, it won't happen at all. But what if the delay was mercy? What if God slowed everything down so you wouldn't miss the knock? Because the worst tragedy isn't rejection, it's being so distracted that you never open the door when destiny finally arrives. Let's bring this into real life. Imagine a job offer that doesn't look impressive at first glance. Lower title than expected, different field than planned. But something about it won't leave your mind. Or a person reaches out, someone you wrote off, or someone new who feels oddly familiar. Or a sudden urge to clean, prepare, reorganize your space, even though no guests are scheduled. These are not coincidences, these are signs of readiness being activated inside you. Yet here's the tension: the knock won't wait forever. Grace is patient, but moments are not infinite. You don't need to panic, but you do need to be present. Because some blessings arrive quietly. And if you're addicted to chaos, you'll overlook peace when it shows up. This is where fear tries to interrupt. Fear whispers, "What if I open the door and I'm disappointed again?" Fear reminds you of past knocks that led nowhere. Past hopes that collapsed. But hear this clearly: discernment is not the same as suspicion. God is not asking you to open the door blindly. He is asking you to listen for his voice before you turn the handle. There is hope here, very practical, very real hope, the kind that looks like provision replacing anxiety, like clarity replacing confusion, like stability returning to your home. God does not tease his children. When he prepares a moment, he also prepares the strength to step into it. You are not behind. You are not late. You are early enough to prepare your heart, your mind, and your response. Because when the knock comes, it will feel ordinary on the surface, but eternal in impact. So let me ask you directly, and don't rush past this question. If God knocked on the door of your life today through a conversation, an opportunity, or a decision, would you recognize his voice? Or would you be too distracted to answer? If this message resonates, take a moment to like it, share it with someone who may also be waiting in silence, and subscribe so you stay connected to what God is revealing in this season. And as a prophetic act of alignment, comment 77 below, not out of superstition, but as a declaration that you are awake, attentive, and ready to open the door when heaven knocks. You didn't end up in isolation by accident. It wasn't bad luck, and it wasn't because you were overlooked. This season where people grew distant, where invitations stopped coming, where your phone stayed quiet longer than usual, this was not abandonment. This was preparation happening in silence. Most people assume preparation looks loud. They imagine mentors, applause, visible progress. But God often prepares his chosen ones the opposite way. He removes the noise so he can deal with the foundation. When distractions fall away, what remains is what truly needs healing, strengthening, and refining. Think about the last few months of your life. You may have been working hard, yet feeling unseen at your job. You did what was required, sometimes more. Yet recognition never came. Or financially, you learned how to survive on less, cutting back. Saying no, learning discipline the hard way. In your family, maybe you carried responsibilities quietly, being the strong one while others leaned on you without realizing how heavy the weight was. This is where many people grow bitter, but you were being trained, not punished. There is a reason God allowed you to walk through days where motivation dipped and certainty blurred. He was teaching you how to move without applause, how to stay obedient without reassurance, how to trust him when outcomes weren't explained. These lessons cannot be learned in public victories, they are learned in private endurance. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Isaiah, chapter 30, verse 15. In repentance and rest is your salvation. In quietness and trust is your strength. Quietness is not weakness. It is strength being forged where no one can interrupt it. Let's make this practical. Imagine a person who has always relied on others for validation suddenly finding themselves alone with their thoughts. At first, it feels uncomfortable, even painful. But over time, clarity emerges. You start recognizing patterns, why certain relationships kept failing, why certain jobs drained you, why certain doors never opened. God was protecting you from repeating cycles that would have broken you later. This season stripped away illusions. You stopped romanticizing what wasn't healthy. You stopped chasing what wasn't aligned. And even though it felt lonely, it sharpened your discernment. Now, when something approaches your life, you don't just feel excitement, you feel alignment. Here's something many won't tell you: the door that's coming requires maturity, not enthusiasm. That's why preparation took time. If it had arrived earlier, you might have mishandled it. You might have attached it to ego, rushed the process, or trusted the wrong voices. Delay saved you from damage you didn't even know was waiting. Hope enters here, not vague hope, but grounded hope. The kind that shows up as emotional stability, as peace that doesn't disappear when circumstances shift, as confidence that no longer depends on applause. This is the version of you that can receive what's coming without losing yourself. Picture this moment clearly. You wake up one day and realize you're no longer desperate. You still desire growth, love, opportunity, but you're not frantic. You're steady. That steadiness is evidence that preparation worked. You are no longer trying to fill a void. You are ready to steward an assignment. And yes, there were moments when you questioned God. Nights when you wondered if he had changed his mind about you. But doubt did not disqualify you. It deepened your dependence. God is not intimidated by your questions. He is forming your character through them. Here's a truth that brings relief. The silence you endured was not emptiness, it was space being made. Space for wisdom. Space for authority. Space for the next season to arrive without chaos. But preparation also comes with responsibility. You can't go back to who you were before the quiet. You can't reopen doors God helped you close. You can't ignore the discernment you've gained just because something looks familiar. What's coming requires the version of you that learned how to listen, wait, and trust without needing constant confirmation. So let me ask you plainly, without drama, without pressure, are you willing to honor the growth that happened in silence, or will you abandon it the moment comfort returns? Because the knock is not just about what enters your life, it's about who you are when you open the door. The season ahead will feel different because you are different. You will notice yourself responding with calm where panic once lived, choosing clarity over impulse. This is how you know preparation is complete, not because fear is gone, but because it no longer controls your decisions or defines your worth. Carry this awareness forward. When the next door opens, you won't rush through it seeking validation. You will walk steadily, grounded, alert, and humble. What you step into will not consume you, it will confirm you. And that quiet strength will be the signal that you were ready all along. Before there was noise, before there was conflict, before there was consequence, there was a moment of discernment. Eve stood before the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Nothing about the scene looked dangerous. The garden was still beautiful. God had not disappeared. Life was still abundant. And yet, a subtle shift entered the space, not through force, but through suggestion. A voice that didn't deny God outright, but gently reframed his word, not rebellion at first, reinterpretation. This matters, because most turning points in life don't begin with obvious wrong choices, they begin with reasonable ones. The serpent didn't rush Eve. He questioned clarity. He introduced doubt without urgency. Did God really say? And suddenly, Eve wasn't choosing between obedience and disobedience, she was choosing between trust and self-judgment, between waiting and reaching, between alignment and independence. This ancient story mirrors modern life more than we like to admit. You may not be standing in a garden, but you've stood in moments just like it. Moments where nothing looked wrong, yet something felt slightly off. A decision at work that promised growth but required compromise. A relationship that felt good but blurred your boundaries. A financial shortcut that eased pressure but unsettled your spirit. The danger wasn't the tree, the danger was touching what was not assigned. In everyday life, this often shows up when discernment is replaced by justification. You don't feel peace, but you feel excitement, so you proceed. You don't feel clarity, but you feel pressure, so you act. And like Eve, you don't intend harm. You intend understanding, control, assurance. The serpent's tactic hasn't changed. He doesn't need to destroy you. He only needs to rush you past discernment. The ancient warning appears in the book of Genesis, chapter 3, verse 6. When the woman saw that the tree was good for food and pleasing to the eye, and also desirable for gaining wisdom, she took some and ate it. Notice what persuaded her. Not rebellion, not hatred of God, but desire for wisdom before timing. This is where many people stumble today. You want answers now. You want clarity now. You want results now. But some knowledge gained too early costs peace. Some doors opened prematurely require repairs that could have been avoided. Let's bring this into real life. Imagine you're offered a promotion. It looks good. It pays more. But it demands hours that erode your health or family. Or you reconnect with someone familiar. The chemistry returns quickly, but the growth hasn't happened. Or you feel pushed to make a spiritual decision out of fear rather than conviction. These are modern trees, and the question is never, is it good? The question is it mine right now? Discernment doesn't ask, will this benefit me? It asks, will this align me? Eve reached because she believed holding back meant missing out. But what she missed was this obedience was not restriction, it was protection. God wasn't withholding something good, he was guarding timing. And timing is where trust is proven. There is hope here, not condemnation. Eve's story is not preserved to shame humanity, but to teach us how subtle misalignment begins. And the beauty of your season is this: you are being invited to choose differently. You now pause where you once rushed. You question where you once assumed. You wait where you once reached. That is growth. In practical terms, discernment today may look like delaying a response, asking one more question, sitting with discomfort instead of escaping it, declining something attractive because peace didn't accompany it. These are not losses, they are protections you won't have to recover from later. But discernment also requires courage, because saying no to the wrong tree often means standing alone for a moment. Others may not understand. They may say you're overthinking, missing opportunities, being too cautious. But you know the difference now between opportunity and temptation. So let me ask you directly, without metaphor, without softness. What are you being tempted to reach for simply because it looks good, not because it feels aligned? This is where response matters, not outwardly, inwardly. Right now, anchor this awareness with a simple declaration. Comment, I choose trust, not as a slogan, as a stance. When you say I choose trust, you are saying you don't need to rush knowledge, force outcomes, or grasp prematurely. You are choosing timing over impulse, alignment over appetite, trust over control. That choice, quiet, unseen, is how discernment rewrites the ending of an ancient story in your own life. When you say I choose trust, you are deciding not to reach for clarity before it's time. You are allowing God's order to lead, believing that what is withheld now is protection, not punishment. That short declaration also means you release control. You stop forcing outcomes and accept timing. By choosing trust, you commit to waiting with awareness, knowing alignment grows strongest when patience guards desire. This is where movement begins, not with noise or pressure, but with awareness. The kind of awareness that quietly changes how you stand, how you listen, how you respond. The surprise God is preparing does not arrive to interrupt chaos. It arrives to meet readiness. And readiness often begins with something deceptively simple: noticing what has been stable for too long. Stability can be a gift, but stability can also slowly turn into a cage when it no longer requires faith. Look honestly at your everyday life, not with judgment, with clarity. The routines that run smoothly without effort. The job that no longer stretches you but feels safe enough to keep. The relationship that hasn't broken yet hasn't deepened. The prayers that are faithful but no longer expectant. Nothing is falling apart, and that is exactly why many people stop paying attention. This is the first practical instruction. Notice the stillness. Stillness here does not mean peace. It means nothing is asking anything new of you. Your days repeat so predictably that you stop imagining change. You stop asking questions. You stop listening closely. And when that happens, you can miss the moment God is preparing to move. In daily life, this may show up as a quiet heaviness you can't explain. You go to work, complete your tasks, return home, rest, and everything functions. But something inside you feels paused. That feeling is not ingratitude. It is discernment waking up. The voice of God speaks through the prophet Haggai, chapter 1, verse 5. Now therefore, thus says the Lord of hosts, consider your ways. That instruction is gentle, but firm. Consider your ways means slow down enough to observe patterns you've stopped questioning. Ask yourself, what hasn't changed in years? What have I accepted simply because it's familiar? Then comes the second instruction check, your first response. Your first response is unfiltered truth. Before logic rearranges it, when something unexpected enters your life, a new idea, an invitation, a disruption, what rises first? Fear, resistance, curiosity. For example, imagine your manager mentions a possible change in role. Before you respond, what happens inside? Tightness, interest mixed with doubt. That internal movement reveals where trust is still fragile and where faith has grown. In finances, an unexpected expense appears. Do you panic or pause and assess in relationships? Someone asks more of you. Does defensiveness rise or openness? Discernment does not condemn the reaction. It studies it. Here is the hopeful truth. Awareness itself is progress. The moment you notice stillness, the moment you examine your first response, you are no longer drifting. Practical obedience here is quiet, writing down what you've avoided, creating space instead of filling it, asking one honest question, updating a neglected skill, setting a boundary without explanation. Small adjustments carry enormous weight when they are honest. Emotionally, this season asks you to slow your reactions. Spiritually, it invites you to listen more than you speak. God often gives direction not through urgency but through clarity that settles. You are not being asked to force movement. You are being asked to remain available. Availability is a posture, Mom. It says, I am willing to move if you lead. It does not cling to comfort. It stays open. And this is why the coming surprise will change everything, not because it is dramatic, but because you will meet it awake. Now answer this honestly. What part of your life has been fine for so long that you stopped expecting God to move there? That is often where the door appears. And as this realization settles, imagine a quiet lamp being lit at dusk. Some will sit in the glow, letting the light steady them. Some will gently turn the lamp outward, so its warmth reaches another that is sharing. And some will remain close to the flame, returning when the night grows longer, choosing to subscribe, not to a channel, but to a rhythm that keeps you awake. If this message steadied you, let the light remain. If it clarified something unspoken, allow it to travel. If you sense this is a season you don't want to walk alone, stay near freely and intentionally, because readiness is not loud, it is attentive. And attentiveness is how transformation begins. Stay with that attentiveness as you move forward. Let it shape how you speak, decide, and wait. You don't need to rush into change or demand answers. The light you're standing near will guide your steps gradually, revealing what matters only when you're ready to carry it. And when movement finally comes, it will feel natural, not forced. You'll recognize it by the calm beneath the courage it requires. What unfolds next won't steal your peace, it will confirm it. That is how you'll know the timing was right. Now we move into a more delicate territory, not because it is fragile, but because it is weight-bearing. This section is about what happens after the door opens inwardly, but before it opens outwardly. The space where many chosen ones feel pressure without explanation, excitement mixed with unease, hope walking alongside responsibility. This is where you begin to realize what's coming is not just a gift. It is a calling that requires stewardship. Some blessings feel light. This one carries gravity. You may already sense it. A growing awareness that your choices matter more now. that small compromises feel heavier, that certain conversations drain you faster than before. That tolerance you once had for confusion, disorder, or misalignment is fading. This is not you becoming difficult. This is you becoming aligned. In everyday life, this often shows up subtly. At work, you may notice that tasks you once tolerated now feel empty. You still perform well, but your spirit no longer shrinks to fit environments that don't honor growth. Or financially, you begin thinking long-term instead of survival-based. You stop asking, "How do I get through this month?" and start asking, "What am I building toward?" In relationships, something shifts too. You crave fewer connections but deeper ones. You are less interested in being understood by everyone and more committed to being honest with the right ones. That narrowing is not loss, it is focus. The Apostle Paul wrote in the letter to the Hebrews in chapter 12, verse 11, "No discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained by it." Training always precedes responsibility. What you are experiencing now is not punishment, it is refinement. God does not hand weight to weak structures. He strengthens the framework first. That's why this season may feel slower, heavier, more intentional than the last. Here's a practical situation many will recognize. You are given an opportunity, but it comes with boundaries, expectations, accountability. It doesn't feel like freedom at first. It feels like structure. And part of you wants the old ease back, the spontaneity, the lack of pressure. But another part of you knows ease without purpose no longer satisfies. Hope lives here, but it's mature hope, not fantasy and not escape. Hope that looks like endurance, like consistency, like choosing what's right even when no one sees it. This is also where spiritual resistance often increases, not dramatically, but quietly. Distractions become more appealing. Old habits resurface, whispering familiarity. You may feel tempted to numb yourself again, scrolling, overworking, avoiding silence. That's not random. When alignment increases, resistance tests resolve. But hear this clearly, you are not being asked to be flawless. You are being asked to be faithful. Faithfulness in daily life looks ordinary. Showing up on time, keeping your word, resting when you need to instead of burning out to prove something, saying no without guilt, saying yes without fear. And there is joy here too, real joy. The kind that doesn't depend on outcomes. The kind that comes from knowing you are walking in integrity. When your inner world and outer actions begin to agree, peace follows. Now let's talk about the number you'll comment, not as superstition, not as ritual, but as intention. At this point in the journey, the invitation is to comment 314. Why this number? Because it represents structure after chaos. Order emerging quietly, purpose taking form. When you comment it, you're not asking for something, you're acknowledging something that's already happening. You are saying, "I recognize the weight. I accept the training." This declaration matters because seasons of responsibility can feel lonely. Others may not understand why you've changed, why you're more selective, why you move slower but stand firmer. This comment anchors you in community, reminding you that refinement is shared, not isolated. So pause for a moment and answer this honestly. Are you willing to carry what's coming with discipline, even when it costs you comfort? Because the door that brings increase also brings expectation. And God only entrusts that to those who can hold it without losing humility. As you step forward, remember this: pressure does not mean danger. Weight does not mean harm. Often, it means growth has begun to match calling. And you are not behind. You are being trained. When you write 314, you are marking a shift from reacting to life into shaping it. The number reflects order being established after uncertainty, reminding you that structure is not restriction but support. It signals your willingness to be trained, guided, and strengthened for what lies ahead. That number also represents commitment in motion. It says you are no longer drifting between options or emotions. You are choosing consistency over impulse, purpose over comfort. By acknowledging 314, you affirm that growth may feel heavy, but it is forming something stable and enduring within you. By now, something has settled inside you. Not certainty about every detail, but steadiness. The kind that doesn't need constant reassurance. This section is about the quiet line you are approaching, the one most people never notice because it doesn't announce itself. It is the line between delay and decision, between waiting faithfully and hesitating unnecessarily. Hesitation often disguises itself as wisdom. It says, just a little longer, just one more confirmation, just one more sign. And sometimes that is discernment, but other times it is fear wearing a thoughtful mask. Knowing the difference matters now more than ever. You have already done much of the inner work. You reflected and you adjusted and you learned to listen. What remains is not preparation, it is alignment through action. Small, honest action. In real life, this might look unimpressive. You finally send the email you've rewritten 10 times. You apply for the role you assumed you weren't ready for. You initiate a conversation you've postponed for months. You make a budget decision that closes one door so another can open. These actions don't feel heroic, but they are decisive. This is where many chosen ones stumble, not because they disobey loudly, but because they delay quietly. Delay erodes clarity. The longer you wait after clarity arrives, the more doubts multiply. Fear feeds on time. Obedience, on the other hand, feeds on trust. And trust grows when movement follows insight. The ancient words recorded in the letter of James, chapter 4, verse 17, still echo today. If anyone then knows the good they ought to do and doesn't do it, it is sin for them. This verse is not meant to crush you. It is meant to wake you. It reminds you that responsibility increases with awareness. Once you know, neutrality is no longer neutral. This can feel uncomfortable because you may wish God would simply push you, but He doesn't. He respects your agency. He invites, guides, confirms, but He does not override your will. That's why this moment feels weighty. Not because something bad will happen if you pause, but because something good may be postponed if you do. Hope remains strong here. Not anxious hope, grounded hope. Because God is not standing with a stopwatch. He is standing with patience. But patience is not permission to stay stuck. Let's look at a family situation. You may feel led to change how you show up, less rescuing, more honesty, less silence, more truth. But implementing that feels risky. What if it causes tension? What if it disrupts peace? Yet deep down, you know the current peace is fragile, built on avoidance. Action may bring discomfort, but also healing. At work, you may feel called to step forward or step away, to take on responsibility, or to let go of something no longer aligned. Waiting feels safer than choosing, but safety without alignment becomes stagnation. And spiritually, this is where many people confuse rest with retreat. Rest restores you. Retreat avoids the call. You can tell the difference by what follows. Rest renews courage. Retreat prolongs fear. There is also grief here, and it deserves acknowledgement. Acting on alignment sometimes means letting go of an identity that once protected you. The one who stayed quiet, the one who adapted, the one who endured without complaint. Growth honors who you were, but it does not stay there. This is not about rushing, it is about responding. God's guidance often comes like a gentle pressure rather than a loud command. A repeated thought, a persistent nudge, a sense that something is overdue. These are not accusations, they are invitations to maturity. And maturity looks like this: doing the next right thing even when the outcome is unclear. You are not required to see the whole staircase. You are asked to take the step that is already lit. Here is a question you should not answer quickly. What action do you already know is right, but you keep postponing because it feels uncomfortable or irreversible? Sit with that, because clarity without movement becomes burden. Movement turns clarity into freedom. This section is quieter because the decision ahead is personal. No one can make it for you, but you are not alone in it. The same God who prepared you will meet you in the step you take. Not after, not before, in it, as you carry this awareness forward. Remember that obedience often feels ordinary in the moment. It rarely announces itself with emotion or certainty. Yet each small step taken in honesty creates momentum, and momentum quietly shifts your future without asking permission from fear. When you finally move, you will realize the weight you carried was never meant to crush you. It was meant to steady you. What unfolds next will meet you mid-step, confirming that courage grows not before action, but through it. You are standing at the threshold now, not one marked by noise or spectacle, but by recognition. The kind that settles quietly in your chest and tells you something irreversible has already happened. You didn't arrive here by force. You arrived by attention, by choosing not to turn away when growth became uncomfortable, by staying present when it would have been easier to retreat. This moment matters because you are no longer merely responding to life. You are participating in it with clarity. What has shifted most is not your environment, but your center. You no longer wait to be chosen, you choose alignment. You no longer chase signs, you recognize patterns. The knock that once felt distant now feels internal, as if the door has been inside you all along. In everyday life, this looks subtle but undeniable. You speak with less urgency and more intention. You don't over-explain your boundaries. You don't apologize for growth. At work, your presence carries weight even when your voice is calm. In family spaces, you love without absorbing every emotional current. In finances, you plan with patience rather than fear. These are the marks of someone who has crossed an inner line. You may notice that people respond differently to you now. Some feel drawn closer, others drift quietly away. Neither reaction is something you need to manage. When your foundation shifts, your surroundings adjust naturally. And this is the promise that anchors everything you've walked through. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 7, verse 25, "The rain fell, the floods came, and the winds blew and beat against that house. Yet it did not fall, because it had its foundation on the rock." This is not a promise of ease, it is a promise of endurance. Storms will still rise, pressure will still test you, but you are no longer constructed on impulse, people-pleasing, or fear of loss. You are founded, and what is founded does not collapse, it reveals its strength. Hope here is concrete. It looks like resilience without hardness, confidence without arrogance, influence without compromise. The next season will ask more of you, but it will also trust you more. Responsibility and peace will begin to coexist. There will be moments when the old version of you feels tempted to return to rush, to explain, to doubt your steadiness. But you'll recognize that temptation now. You'll feel the difference between movement that comes from fear and movement that comes from alignment. And you will choose differently. This is not the end of your journey. It is the end of drifting. Now, Imagine this message not as something you listened to, but as a stretch of road you walked attentively. Some roads are meant to be passed through quietly. Others are meant to be marked not loudly, but intentionally, so those who come later can recognize the way. If at any point along this path you felt steadied, imagine pressing your palm briefly against a stone along the road, a small, deliberate acknowledgement that this mattered. That is choosing to like what nourished you. If you know someone walking nearby in uncertainty, picture turning a lantern slightly toward the path, not pulling them, not convincing them, simply making the way visible. That is sharing, without pressure or agenda. And if this journey mirrored something unfolding inside you, consider leaving a few words behind, not to explain yourself, but to witness your own becoming. That is commenting, a quiet way of saying, I was here, and something shifted, finally. If you sense that walking with reminders like this keeps you awake and aligned, choosing to stay connected is like continuing alongside others who recognize the pace. That is subscribing not to a voice, but to a shared attentiveness that deepens over time. These are not instructions, they are choices, each one voluntary, each one meaningful in its own way. Before this chapter closes, hold this question gently, not to answer publicly, but to carry forward into your days. Who are you becoming now that fear no longer sets your direction, and delay no longer defines your timing? Let that answer shape how you walk from here. You are not waiting at the door anymore. You are living beyond it. Carry this awareness gently into your ordinary days. Let it influence small choices, how you speak, how you pause, how you respond when no one is watching. Transformation does not announce itself. It settles in quietly, becoming visible only through consistency, patience, and the calm confidence of aligned living. And when uncertainty returns, as it sometimes will, remember you have crossed an inner threshold already. You do not need to prove it or revisit it. Walk forward with trust. What unfolds next will meet you in motion, confirming that this steadier path was always yours to walk. As this message comes to rest, there is nothing you need to rush toward and nothing you need to push away. An open ending does not mean uncertainty, it means trust. Trust that what was meant for you has already reached you, and what was not can be released without regret. Some words land immediately, others settle later, quietly resurfacing in moments you didn't expect during a commute, a pause at night, a decision that suddenly feels clearer. You don't have to remember everything. You only need to carry what stayed. If something here felt useful, grounding, or clarifying, you may choose to pass it along, not as an announcement, not as a declaration, but as a simple gesture of care, like setting something gently on a table for someone else to find when they're ready. Sharing, in that sense, is not about convincing. It's about offering. And if nothing here felt useful, that's allowed too. Not every message is meant to be kept whole. Sometimes only a sentence matters. Sometimes only a feeling. Sometimes only the permission to pause. Keep whatever touched you, even if you can't yet explain why, and let the rest fade without pressure. There is no obligation attached to this moment, no expectation to respond, to act, to change overnight. Growth rarely asks for spectacle. It asks for honesty. And honesty often begins with noticing what resonates and what doesn't. You are free to walk away carrying nothing, or carrying one quiet insight that reshapes how you move forward. Both are valid outcomes. So leave this space the same way you entered it, attentive, unforced, open. The door does not need to close behind you. It can remain open, not as an invitation, but as a reminder that you are trusted to decide what stays with you